It's Morning Edition from NPR News. Good morning, and I'm David Green. Here with me today, we will have Rachel Rector, who will be discussing the interview she conducted with Jane Smith, Bobby Allen, and Stephanie Murphy, all teachers from the Tri-County region in Indiana. Today's podcast will focus on how teachers in Tri-County are reaching standards for both the teaching profession and technology integration. And now for NPR's Rachel Rector on targeting standards for teaching and technology. Thank you, David. Today I will be discussing what I saw when viewing and interviewing 3 different teachers and their classrooms in the Tri-County area over the past several weeks. We will first focus on how the standards for the teaching profession are being met in the classrooms of these teachers. There are 6 standards, but for today's purposes, we will only look at how each teacher met one of these standards. Miss Jane Smith, a kindergarten teacher in the Tri-County area, expressed her accomplishments in Standard 4, which is as follows: planning instruction and designing learning experiences for all students. Miss Smith spends much of her prep time making sure she is well prepared and that all her students are working at the correct learning level. While observing the class, I saw that Miss Smith's planning allowed for all of her students to be working at different levels but still accomplishing the same goal. She plans her entire day out by activities and makes sure to create groups and partners ahead of time. This tool helps to make sure that students who need harder work may be assigned to a more difficult assignment, or that students that need more help are closer to the teacher's desk. All of these pre-planning tools make it so that each student will have an ideal learning experience with each lesson. Our next teacher, Mr. Bobby Allen, is a computer lab instructor and business teacher. The standard that Mr. Allen found most appealing to his classroom was Standard 2. Creating and maintaining effective environments for student learning. Mr. Allen is limited to his environment of the computer lab, which holds 17 stationary computers. Mr. Allen has made it his focus this year to be creating different learning environments within his classroom. He has done so by placing a large picnic-like bench in the center of his classroom. This additional environment allows for workspace away from a computer. Mr. Allen has also taken advantage of the resource he has of using the outside of his classroom. For example, when Mr. Allen has extra help, he is able to send a student out into a quiet area just outside his door to work one-on-one with the helper. Teachers must be creative with what they are given and help their students to have many places in a room to accomplish different activities. Standard 5, assessing students for learning, was clearly seen in Miss Stephanie Murphy's middle school classroom. Ms. Murphy uses many types of assessment to make sure that her students are learning what they are supposed to according to the state standards. In previous classrooms, the normal standardized pencil and paper test was the only form of assessment. However, it is teachers like Ms. Murphy that are working to use many ways of assessing her students that we will see progress in our classrooms. Ms. Murphy has created project folders on the computer where her students keep their in-progress work as well as finished projects. Ms. Murphy checks these folders regularly and gives students feedback on how their projects can be improved. There are also many other ways that she does quick assessments, like asking the class a question and having students raise their hand to answer. The second formal assessment Ms. Murphy used would be to give the students a task and see if they could accomplish it on their own. An example of this would be the use of a program called Pivot. The students had been working with the program for about 2 weeks when Ms. Murphy gave the students the assignment of creating a 30-second pivot video all on their own. This allowed Ms. Murphy to see what students had been paying attention over the past few weeks and who still needed help perfecting the program. Having multiple ways of assessing the students that aren't always formal allow the students to feel less anxiety and pressure when being assessed. Assessing students regularly must be done in our classrooms, but the way that each teacher does the assessing can be creative, and this can form multiple types of assessment within each classroom. Our next area of discussion will be looking at where these teachers were able to succeed in properly incorporating technology into their classrooms. There are many standards for teachers to follow to help them effectively use technology, and today we will look at how 2 of those were met in these classrooms. Mr. Bobby Allen has to concentrate on properly using technology every day and doing so in a fun and exciting way. The standard that I saw covered very well in his classroom was the NETS-T standard, which is Design and Develop Digital Age Learning Experiences and Assessments. A quick example of how Mr. Allen did so in his classroom would be his PowerPoint partner project. This lesson was all focused on students perfecting the use of PowerPoint. They were first given a quick teaching moment to learn the important tools on PowerPoint, and after this they were paired up with a partner and asked to make a 5-slide PowerPoint about the other person. This activity allowed for the students to 1. Learn about their classmates, 2. Explore the tools of PowerPoint, and 3. Create an appealing presentation that could be graded by Mr. Allen. I saw Mr. Allen put 2 learning lessons together by allowing the students to get to 1. Know each other, and 2. A new program. One of the best parts of this lesson was allowing the students to explore PowerPoint on their own. Giving the students this freedom will allow them to gain the confidence to figure out future programs. The NETS S standard is critical thinking, problem solving, and decision making is designed to shape students' learning. This standard was observed in Miss Stephanie Murphy's classroom in a lesson over stop motion. Miss Murphy's project had the students using Lego pieces and digital cameras to create stories. The students had to think about every frame of their story and had to use critical thinking in order to string together an understandable story with their Lego pieces. Miss Murphy did an especially good job at demonstrating to the students how this would work and giving them just enough information so that they could figure out some techniques out on their own. The projects turned out wonderful. This was a super creative way to get the students involved by using a toy they really enjoyed playing with and digital cameras, a new and exciting piece of equipment. The stories that Miss Murphy's class created had meaning and thought to them and reflected the great teaching skills that Miss Murphy displayed in the classroom. The 3 teachers observed in the Tri-County area are all doing a magnificent job at focusing on both the teaching profession standards as well as the NETS standards to have a well-run classroom with technology. Thank you for your excellent report and giving us a look into what some of the strongest schools and teachers here in Indiana are doing with technology and their general classrooms. I have a couple questions for you now, as you were out in the field for quite some time conducting interviews and observations that we'd love to hear your response to. Of course, David, ask away. What experience impacted you the most? Well, David, I really enjoyed seeing the students strive in their classrooms and accomplish many of the tasks that were put before them, but I'd say the most impactful moment was when I saw students who once had no interest in the lessons show excitement and enthusiasm about a project. In Mr. Allen's class, there was a group of boys that always complained about doing the daily project, but one day they were being taught how to make animated videos, and in the lesson I saw a spark in these boys, and they created some really awesome stuff because they were interested in the topic. It was moments like these that showed me that not all students are going to love every topic and that they're all very different. Therefore, we have to switch things up often in order to hit all the populations in our classrooms. This is very true, Rachel. I'm glad that you and Mr. Allen were able to target a special population that day, and I hope that this keeps happening in many classrooms. The next question I have for you is, where did you see yourself grow through this experience? Well, David, my eyes were open to a lot of new possibilities and projects that I could use in my classroom. I was given the opportunity to see how an actual computer lab worked, and I made notes on things that I thought went well and things that I would change in my classroom. So really just the experience and being exposed to all the different projects that the kids were doing really just helped me grow as a future teacher. Well, Rachel, it seems as if you have had a very rewarding and beneficial experience, and we wish you all the best in your future endeavors. This was NPR's Morning Edition, and that was Rachel Rector with Targeting Standards for Teaching and Technology. Thank you for listening, and have a wonderful day.